Hi, and welcome to the program Testimony Time. Yemi Balogun is my name. And you know what? I got a guy in the studio. He's heavy. You know what? Like they say, he was so bad his parents ran away from home. That's how serious it is. But with someone with this kind of record I'm about to read out, you can imagine. You'll see the faithfulness of God and how wonderful God is. You know, he was, at the age of 15, he had problems with the police already. He was caught stealing, taken to the police station, got hit with a criminal record. I know what? He was in court in England and in Cyprus, where he originally came from, constantly in court. He said, I spent nights in cells. I nearly lost my life about 4 times, but God pulled me out by his grace. He had mercy on my soul. I told my father from a young age I wanted to be a gangster. I was smoking, I've taken drugs, I had a serious drink problem. I had no respect for women, failed an engaged relationship, a failed music career. I was living on top by myself. Gambling, I was in gambling clubs where I was going to the casinos regularly. Greek nightclubs. I wanted to kill. I hated everything. I even took a knife to stab a friend. I was a thief. I even stole from the local church. I even stole from my grandmother. Can you imagine? Terrible. I was fornicating. Many nights I never went home. But one evening, he had an encounter. You know what? Get on the phone. Tell your friends, your relatives, and your neighbors. Tell them to tune to this channel right now. Especially even the young kids in the area, young people, 12 years, 13 years, who think, when they see all these gangster rappers, they think those are the best things that happened since fish and chips. You know what? Tell them to sit down and watch this, because it will surely bless them. Because I got with me this wonderful gentleman called Smiley. He just popped in from Cyprus, where he's living at the moment. And you know what? You might need him to talk to a lot of young people in your church. So please, sit back and get ready with a pen and paper to take down some details. God bless you as you continue to watch. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
I just read out your record. Terrible record. But what happened, can you give us an idea of the background you came from? Because maybe the background will give us, would make people understand exactly why you were like that.
Yeah. Well, basically, I was born and raised in Tottenham, on one bad estate. We used to have the police helicopters flying over the estate.
What estate was that?
Either estate of St. Anne's Road. I was born on the estate. I was thieving from a young age. Told my father the future which I wanted, to be a gangster. We left from Cyprus. We left from England. I moved over to Cyprus. Nearly lost my life many times. I got in trouble with the police in England and in Cyprus also. I've had court cases over here and over there.
Wow.
Then when I left from Cyprus and I moved back to England because I wanted to pursue a music career. And so I was living in a room on top of a gambling club in Haringey, London. And I was exposed to the gambling and other things that were going on in the club that I don't want to expose on screen. Got to meet some of the people that were, the regulars. I was going with them to evenings, like to casinos, to Greek nightclubs. And it was just, just this whole life where I felt that, it was not me, but it was the life that I was in. And also I had a problem with drink as well. I would, I'd always get drunk, loss of memory, end up in different places. And there was a time as well where I nearly lost my life a few times, but one of the times that I felt that maybe I even had AIDS.
Wow.
And I was thinking to myself, well, if my parents get to hear about this while I'm in England, it's going to kill them before it kills me from their stress and their worry. But that was only one of the times where I saw that the Lord, now as a believer, that the Lord has saved my life. And he saved my life more than 3-4 times, through gangsters, through suicide, through AIDS, even through a knife fight that would have happened. But I see the hand of the Lord that just, never allowed it to go forth, to happen.
You said you wanted to be a music rapster. Was that because you liked the gangster rappers?
No, basically It was a music career as a vocalist, as an R&B singer. And you see, in Cyprus, you don't have potential breaking forth into the music industry over there because of, the studios and the industry is not as big as in England. So I sacrificed everything I had over there, moved back over here. And I done studio work, had CDs, I was in newspapers, I was on radio. And the funny thing is that I've said to people that even though I tried to break through into the music industry and there was different areas that I hit, one of the areas which I never did hit was television. And it was only the other day when I was thinking about Revelation TV that it hit me that I tried to break through into the music industry. And even though I was in newspapers and was interviewed live on radios and I never actually got interviewed on TV, now as a believer and by the grace of God, I think the Lord has a sense of humor because he's saying to me, well, you tried it this way, but now try it my way. And not only will you be on TV, but you're going to be on TV across the globe.
Wonderful. Now tell me, talking about the background you came from, the estate,
Yeah.
would you say that you were influenced by happenings around that estate or so many other things? Or there is a spiritual dimension to what you were going through?
I think, I think he's basically, I just think he's like, the estate. That's the life that you grow up into, that's the life that you see, that's the things that you see. And, these things, they wear off on you. And then it's the style, the enemy, the devil has got such a foothold through media, through music, through video games. And so when he starts to push his way through those things, and the music that I was listening to back then as well, it's just that those demonic spirits starts to take over and they start playing with your mind and they start playing with your feelings, and where you was a good person, even if you try and be a good person, through his influence, it just diverts you and it takes you on the wrong road. And they start playing with your mind and your heart and your feelings. And, like I told my father, I want to be a gangster. I told him straight, And one night in a dance hall in Nicosia where, I nearly got into a fight with a few boys and a friend of mine had a knife and I told him, give me the knife, and I went upstairs looking for them. But praise the Lord that they weren't there because I believe that there was maybe 4 or 5 of them, and if I went upstairs, into the street, that knife could have turned against me.
Wow.
And I can only see now that it's by the grace of the Lord that he's saved my life more than once, more than twice, for the reason that he's called me. And that's to preach the gospel, a message of hope, a message of love, and a message of salvation.
When you were going through this strange lifestyle, what was the reaction of your parents? How were they feeling?
My parents were concerned. One night that I spent in a cell in Nicosia in Cyprus, I spent the night in the cell. I got released in the morning. I went home, and my parents didn't even know that I spent the night in the cell because they were so used to me not going home. So for them, it was just another evening, that I never went home. They didn't ask me where I was at. And, they were obviously concerned, and my mum was concerned every time I would go out, but I was just, I just couldn't see it.
Wow. But then on the other hand, did it ever cross your mind that if I carry on this way and I keep getting locked up and there's no future for me, the impact can destroy my parents, can mess them up? Did it ever cross your mind?
Well, there was a time where I can honestly say that that I actually hit rock bottom. I did. And I was just slipping and I was slipping and I was slipping. I knew that, that my life was just going from bad to worse. And, I could see that my parents, they were concerned as well, and they were worried and they were stressing. And even though I could see that, for me, it was just, every week was just the same thing. There was no way out. I was caged up in this prison where I couldn't break forth. I couldn't get released by myself.
Then you were sharing with me that you had a near-death experience. What happened?
Well, one of the experiences when I went to a Greek nightclub in London. There was I was in the place with my ex-fiance, and I nearly got in trouble with some people in there, with some gangsters. Now, the person that was in there called for backup, and they came and they left, but I didn't know what happened at that time. It was only to a man who was well known in the club, came over to me and said to me, listen, I put my neck on the line for you. I told them, boys, if you want to get to him, you have to get through me first. The next time you see them, don't speak to them. Don't look at them. They're dangerous people. You know, that was only, I mean, I believe that maybe it could have been a bloodbath that evening. You know, that's only one of the times. But like I said before, now that my eyes have been opened by the grace of God, that I'm able to see that the Lord put everything on hold and saved me time after time. The grave kept on pulling me down, but the Lord Jesus